the non-composition of boards, councils, or call it governing boards and councils, a constitutional requirement at the Article 70 allows for some usurpation and an impediment on the governance structure and governance processes of our country. We are concerned that the president who announced that he was in a hurry is not becoming a go-slow president on key governance decisions. So we are concerned. But distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, today's press conference, the minority in Parliament has received with some shock another action taken by the Honorable Minister for Finance, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, which amounts to a usurpation of the role of the board of directors of a listed company, the Agricultural Development Bank. And we are concerned because what befell UT and Capital Bank, we don't want it visited on the Agricultural Development Bank. At a time that the country's shareholders, customers, and taxpayers of commercial banks are waiting for more information, better particulars, of the Ghana Commercial Bank's takeover of 2 banks. I've already named them for you. We have in our possession a letter dated 9th June 2017, reference PID PEU 01-2017, signed by the Honorable Ofori-Atta, giving approval of a loan of 10,459,500 from the ADB to Magdan Shipping Company Limited. He has reduced the mandate and role of the Minister of Finance to some credit disbursement entity in order that he can reward, as usual, the political cronies. The letter addressed to the Managing Director of the ADB with the heading, Approval of Credit Facilities, Magdan Shipping Company Limited, states in paragraph 2 that approval is hereby granted you to disburse a credit facility in the sum of 10,459,500 Ghana cedis to Magdan Shipping Company. This is to enable the company to undertake its business operations and in particular to execute a supply contract awarded by the Ghana Cocoa Board. And ladies and gentlemen of the media, we'd like you to probe further whether this contract was awarded through an open, competitive tender process to guarantee and ensure value for money, or it was one approved of what was a sin, sole sourcing. The minister has by this action usurped the authority and functions of the bank, its board of directors, which has curiously not been constituted. So we are concerned. Where is the board of directors of the major financial institutions of our country? And for many of you, even beginning the first quarter of the year up to second quarter, banks needed their board of directors to take critical decisions which provided them with lifeline and even for credit approval. The I'm in a hurry president is not in a hurry to get the board of directors of these financial institutions, including ADB, properly constituted. Further, it is clear that no due diligence was conducted by even the management of the bank before the minister's approval. If you are there, you just get a letter from the Ministry of Finance, and it says that approval has been given. If you are part of the board, it's fait accompli. You certainly will not have much to add. Best corporate governance practice requires that the board of directors of the bank, which is vested with the responsibility of overseeing management and governance of the bank, approves or sanctions financial transactions of the bank and not the Minister of Finance. These are people who parrot that they are experts and champions in corporate governance. The rationale for such a provision is to ensure that due diligence is done before any financial commitment is made. This provision ensures that the financial risk and exposure of the bank are reduced to the barest minimum, if not completely eliminated, to protect shareholders. We don't want to believe that the constitution or composition of the board of many critical institutions of the country are a deliberate attempt by the government to usurp the functions of governing board and take illegal, inappropriate, and imprudent financial decisions, such as what has been approved as a loan for Magdan Shipping, maybe to reward them for some work they did in the elections of 2016. We are curious to ask whether the Minister for Finance have the authority to assume the role of management of the board of directors of a listed company in the case of the Agricultural Development Bank, a multi-million-dollar governance question we pose, and to approve a loan of that amount. We note that the ADB has minority shareholders, as it is the case with the Ghana Commercial Bank, which took over Capital and UT Banks, also listed entity. We consider the usurpation of the responsibility of the board of directors of listed company to authorize the disbursement of the loan of such an amount without due diligence and recourse irregular in law and a violation and a breach and an affront to corporate governance processes and procedures in our country. One would have expected the Minister of Finance would stay clear of interfering with the mandate of board of directors of a listed company. And those of you who are familiar with the company's code as amended, you should know where his limitations are in terms of determining and approving loans for it. The contract for which authorization of the ADB loan was approved by the Minister for Finance, we are told, originated from the Ghana Cocoa Board. Serious questions arise that seem to be whether they have demonstrated respect to our procurement processes. Was the contract awarded using the sole sourcing procurement process? If the answer is yes, then the law requires the approval be sought from the Public Procurement Authority. Where is the board of the Public Procurement Authority? We are not aware that it's been constituted. Therefore, if a decision was taken by persons who purport, if you refer to the budget and financial statement of the Minister of Finance, he parroted again that this government will say no to sole sourcing. I would paraphrase and use his exact words when he declared sole sourcing a sin, even though lawful under the laws of Ghana, but to be used rarely and sparingly to ensure value for money for the people of the country and to protect the public interest. If the contract was awarded through a competitive tender procurement process, then the value of 10 million, 10.6, will dictate that it goes through the Central Tender Review Committee, also a structure under the procurement process. Whether that has been constituted, we leave that for you to probe further. So whether sole sourcing or competitive tender, there is a breach of the procurement processes. We won't borrow their words that when those were used, it was meant to achieve a certain object. It is therefore clear that this government is not respecting procurement processes and rules. And we don't want to, as members of parliament, when you read what they have built, what they have introduced as the special prosecutor, they have added procurement breaches. We will further even add, when we get to the consideration of the law, all recommendations of the Auditor General as approved by the Public Accounts Committee will be under the remit. But just to remind them that a fine law will deal with fine breaches of the laws of Ghana that we will look at the appropriate time. The selection of the beneficiary company in the award of this contract raises serious conflict of interest issues that must be addressed. You remember he facilitated the smuggling into Ghana of some South African mercenaries. Whatever it is for us, the peace and security and stability of our country is more important. It's not about rewarding somebody with a contract for having tried to undermine the integrity of the state. So we say without hesitation or fear of contradiction that this is just an action of a breach of the law and processes to reward a political crony. This also adds to a growing list of conflicts of interest situations in which the finance minister seemed to be entangled, the US $2.25 billion, as well as the appointment of close relations and his business associates to key positions at the Ministry of Finance. the Bank of Ghana and the Ghana Revenue Authority. You can cross-check. Many of the key directors who are at the Ministry of Finance have been replaced with persons who are working with him in his previous role somewhere. This must attract the attention of the media in the name of the collective good of our country. That you can't do that. When the NDC inherited political power in 2005, we worked with persons whose background were known as practicing, loyal, New Patriotic Party supporters. We did not deny them bread on the altar of a change of political power. That seemed to be the case. And the people of this country must be concerned about the intrusion of the civil and public service, and it's undermined by political partisan consideration rather than merit. Today, you can find a letter signed by the President Secretary even dismissing a PRO, a Public Relations Officer of a gas company, gets a letter and he has to go home. Again, a company listed. So if you go to the Constitution, even under Article 195, where the President is expected to delegate the appointing authority, he does through the governing boards. Where are the governing boards where all these unfavorable, wrong decisions are being taken? So if you reduce the President to dismissing PROs, very soon they will reduce him to messengers and cleaners going home in order to satisfy party political apparatchiks. To borrow their words again. In conclusion, we reiterate the need to appoint board of directors for all government entities without any further delay. Financial institutions, councils of universities, including the technical universities, board of directors of all institutions, so that we can hold them accountable and responsible to policy decisions that the institutions are taking. For instance, I think it's in the news not for good reasons. Where is their board? Who secured the loan for them? How much was the loan? Was it subjected to board scrutiny? We are only being told that there is approval without respect to established institutions. We therefore call on President Nana Addo Dankwa to direct a reversal of these illegal decisions and acts of malfeasance, as well as take appropriate steps to restore good corporate governance as we look forward to ushering him to the last quarter of his first year. Like it or not, 1 year of his 4-year term is almost gone. We will match him in the coming days to his 3 years, and we'll address you on other matters, in particular education. When I do invite you again, we'll take our bite on selected free senior high school and the redefinition of pass mark from 36 to 24 out of the West African Examination Council traditionally defined and internationally accepted definition of who passes at that particular level. But should there be chaos tomorrow, the people of Ghana must hold President Akufo-Addo and his ministers responsible. I say chaos within the educational sector.